Okay, Hal and Paige, welcome in my Zoom room. Love to see you coaches, colleague coaches on the other side of the ocean. And I love to have a talk with you because I know you're also doing amazing things and have a lot of sessions and coaching, Zoom calls and maybe workshops and whatever you do. And because we don't talk a lot, we're so busy, I was thinking, let's do this interview, this conversation to hear a little bit more about what you're doing and how the things are in your country, which maybe has some stricter regulations than my country, the Netherlands, has. And it's nice to know how you deal with that and what opportunities that give you. But first of all, I want to know, first Hal and then Paige, tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and how you got involved in crypto.
Oh, that's a long question. Happy to be here. Thank you. Hal Taylor, my background is I'm a safety engineer by education. And people would ask me what that is. I started in the oil business and my job was to design refineries to not blow up. That was my job.
And did it work?
It did. It did. It did.
Okay. Yeah.
And I moved on from that to consulting in that time. So I taught, I've now retired this certification, but I held the certified safety professional, which is the highest safety certification in the world. And I taught other people to achieve that certification.
Okay.
So I got accustomed to teaching people and being in front of groups and working with them. And in that time, I also worked with Tony Robbins and did work for him for many years. And so fast forward to having retired my safety certification and was in a company that was a gold company, and they just popped up and said, we're going to start a cryptocurrency. Prior to that, I was against cryptocurrency.
Okay.
If you had ever asked me, I had people say, why don't you buy Bitcoin? And my phrase to everyone was, those are mythical numbers on a computer.
Wow. So things changed a lot.
It's a radical shift from where I was to where I am.
Yeah.
In all of that world and educating, Sean Maloney was a voice that stood out amongst others. And I found out he was doing a training course, and I took that. He was looking for coaches, and I wanted to do that. And so being mentored, as several of us are, being mentored and working with him has opened up a whole new world that is very exciting. And I enjoy it every single day. There's a new challenge, there's a new victory, there's helping other people to come along, and finding that education is the key. Most people do not have the don't have the background. I didn't up until fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure any of us did. And so educating all of us, and that's why we work together well as coaches, no matter what side of the pond we're on, is that we are all helping each other fill in the gaps for each other so that we can all move forward together. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, correct. Wow, amazing. It's a completely different thing that you did. No one is asking you for consultancy anymore in your old profession?
Nope.
No. And some of these guys maybe now ask you about Bitcoin and crypto? Yes, okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to Paige first. What's your story, Paige? What did you do and how did you get involved in crypto?
So I actually kind of come from the same side of the river as Hal, in terms of I studied finance and commercial banking actually in college, or the university, as you say over there. And I spent my first 16, 17 years as a stockbroker, actually working in the financial services industry.
Okay.
I did that through 9/11. Once 9/11 happened, and then we had, of course, Y2K, all of that, and went from managing about $80 million to $50 million overnight through those projects. So it was a rude awakening as to how financial markets work. I stayed in that industry till about 2003, and then I actually went into real estate development with a big project we did down on the Texas coast, and realized the same type of thing existed in commercial real estate in terms of the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And then frankly, in 2008, 2009, I had drank all the Kool-Aid from the real estate development. And when that market went south, I basically lost everything.
Oh, wow.
I was starting over. I helped a gentleman in Houston at that point, because I was living down in Texas, start a winery and brewery. So after the ups and downs of the stock market and real estate, I figured the only way out was alcohol, right? So.
Okay, well, we're not going to promote that is the solution to everything.
So I did that for 5 years. We actually sold the winery and brewery, and it gave me an opportunity at that point to start my own business. I had worked for other people and decided, now's the time to do that. My children were getting older and able to go to college, so it gave me a little bit more time to focus on what I want to do. And I actually started a franchise consulting business where I help people buy franchises.
Okay.
And it kind of got back to the same philosophy in terms of, traditional capital and traditional businesses. And then as I was introduced to cryptocurrency, similar to Hal, I met Sean. Actually got involved with Sean on a watch project that, we could manage your heart rate and that kind of stuff. But it turned out to be a kind of a fly-by-night thing. But at the end of the day, my relationship with Sean blossomed, and I got slowly involved in different types of cryptocurrency. But for me, the big change was, because I came from such a traditional background as in the financial services, and then in real estate development, and then in the franchising business, a light bulb went off. Finally, a light bulb went off and said, you know what? There's an opportunity here to avoid all of the, just let's say, complications of traditional finance in the industry. So it's been an enormous eye-opener for me. And as I've educated myself, I found that the best way to educate yourself even more is to teach other people. So that's part of the process. And Sean has, blessed us all with this opportunity to create this global education resource that, frankly, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg of what we can do as a community and as a group.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so, yes. I saw this article that said where we are in crypto now is the same place where we were in the internet in 1999. So we're just only at the beginning. And I don't know, what is the percentage of people in the United States that own some sort of crypto? What do you think?
So I would, the different numbers, I would say it's in the 5 to 10% range. I mean, I don't think it's much more than that. I mean, if you throw in some people who take a flyer on Dogecoin or something like that because a buddy says something, I mean, maybe it's 20%, right?
Okay.
But those people have no idea what they're doing.
No.
It's just like putting money on a roulette wheel.
Yeah. And Hal, when you talk to someone about crypto, what's the first reaction you get?
Oftentimes their eyes glaze over, and no matter what you ask them about, they'll say Bitcoin, and you say it's like Bitcoin. And people do not understand the magnitude of what we have in front of us. Business is being done differently. Paige comes from the financial industry, and that industry is being turned upside down by what is offered to everyone. And I think that there's a certain amount of educating people initially, and then some people will say, oh yeah, I have some Bitcoin, or I've got a little bit of whatever. And when you come from that place, they usually just buy and hold. And for some people, that's what they're comfortable with. Is just buy and hold and have a little something and hope it all goes up. And the old phrase, when Lambo, when can I get my Lamborghini?
Correct.
Out of the $100 I put into Bitcoin, when does that happen? And so that's where I think the majority of people are.
Okay.
Excuse me, they're very what we call the retail investors, very
Yeah.
retail, and they don't want to keep up with it. They don't want to be involved with it.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of the service that we are providing, is people don't want to keep up with it, and we, as a group of coaches and a community, are able to say, we'll keep up with it, and we'll educate you and help
Yeah.
you move forward in your journey, so that you don't have to dive into it
No.
all the time.
And Paige, you said your kids went to college. What's the financial education that young people get in your country when it comes to financial household things that you have to pay for when you start your own family, when you have your own house? Are they educated in a financial way in your country?
Mine are, because I did it, but
Of course, with your background.
From a school perspective, they are not.
No.
In fact, Hal mentioned he's an engineer. 3 of my 4 sons are actually engineers.
Oh, wow.
In petroleum engineering and mechanical engineering and chemical engineering. So I've got that. But having those degrees, when they go to get a mortgage to buy a house, they have no idea where to begin, or to finance a car, or how to invest their money. So those are education processes that I go through, and one of them has a master's degree and never learned that. So it's about the basics. And if I could jump back to what the question you asked Hal for a second, I really find there's 3 types of people that I run into. One is those people who actually want to learn more and want to understand it. There's a second person who could care less. They have all the answers, and they don't want to hear anything about crypto. And the third person is actually kind of the opposite, in that they will send me articles about how bad it is, or what.
It's bad for the environment. It's criminal.
So, but it's funny, because even though they do that, they're still paying attention to what I'm doing, right?
Okay.
So they have an interest there. So those are the ones that you get a lot of satisfaction from when you convert them.
Yes. We do have a lot of those people in the Netherlands, especially when it comes to criminal activities, money laundering, stuff like that. And then just the state television or the media tells them it's bad for the environment. And well, they of course believe everything they read there.
Right. The other thing I'll say on the education front that I think is so powerful about what we're doing, I have 4 sons. My 4th son did not go to college. He's actually in heating and air and HVAC work here in the United States. He makes as much money as his brothers, who are engineers, and he doesn't have $80,000 to $100,000 of school debt.
Okay.
Right? So it's very important to consider, obviously your future, but as we design and help people design their financial futures, with the burgeoning economy, if you understand cryptocurrency and you understand these markets and where we're going and how this all works, I mean, there's a tremendous education available outside of going to school, and it's not going to impact your income.
No. Now, and then if you look at the reasons why people need extra income, then one of the main reasons is to pay off their debts, because otherwise they will be for years and years in debt and paying only or earning only income to pay their debts. So that's one of the reasons that people want to earn passive income, extra income, to pay off their debts. Yeah.
Right.
Hal, what type of courses, what type of workshops do you do?
I focus primarily on the G999 ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's what the precursor to G999 is, what brought me into the crypto space. It's what I have the most experience with, but also everything else we do in the crypto space, at some point, I see how it's being developed in the G999 ecosystem. And so it's a comprehensive overall project that has lots of material for aspects of growing any type of crypto business, whether it's the networking side and telling other people, or whether it's learning how to stake or have a node or have a savings account or something like that. All of that fits into the G999. The other thing that I focus on is NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Mm-hmm.
And I initially, when I heard about them, that word kind of scared me. and I just let it be for a long time. And then about, I'll say 4 or 6 months ago, it started picking up. And here in the States, it's huge. On my phone and other apps, I will periodically get a thing that says, here is a big thing. In the U.S. today, in Major League Baseball, is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Yeah.
And one of the great baseball players in the U.S. is Derek Jeter. And the other day, it popped up on my phone and said, "Do you want to buy the Derek Jeter NFT?" And I went, "Oh wow!" So these things are happening all around, and he's going into the Hall of Fame, which adds to his value.
Yeah.
But an NFTs fascinate me, and I have it again opens up a whole nother space that just about anything you want to create in the NFT space, you can. And that's a whole nother world outside of what we've normally done in cryptocurrency. So
yes,
in blockchain. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, and people can maybe easily relate to that because it's about their sport heroes or their movie heroes or their famous writers or artists. So maybe it's easier for people to understand what it is and get involved. Although, of course, there is a lot going on. So education is really important to find the right places to go to if you want to have solid and trustworthy NFT.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's some great platforms and projects that you can get NFTs that's all that they do. And then there are others that it's a sideline of what they do. And and everything is growing very rapidly. I would say exponentially. Yeah. So NFTs started and there was like one main platform with some other not so well known. And now it's growing quickly. Yeah. One of the coaches has created NFTs. Robin is an author.
Yeah, correct. Yes, amazing.
And he's created NFTs with his books and is putting them out there. And I just think that whole concept fascinates me.
It's a very fast growing space, and we don't need to bring the 60 million that someone paid for an NFT with the images. So right. This is also a space where we can start with a low amount of money, but it's one of the spaces that I don't touch a lot because I have to study it more. But it's great to know that you do it and that Robin does it. So if people are really interested, I can tell them go to Hal's workshops or go to Robin and they can tell you a lot more. Paige, I think you have different things that you talk about, maybe also basic courses, but you have other things that you're specialized in.
Right. So I have two core courses right now, and I'm planning to introduce a third, but my core course is on Nexo, is on the platform itself. And it really introduces the power of leverage into this space. And it's also all about asset management, allocation into staking within the platform, and then how to actually offset the cost of borrowing so that you can leverage yourself to take advantage of other projects or maybe an NFT without reducing or disturbing your principal or your original core holding. So it's an exciting area, and so it's one I focus on. The other I'm just launching is called Crypto Quadrants, and it's really about when we look at the cash flow quadrant, for example, for Robert Kiyosaki. If you take that the next step, once you have the investments, you're in that fourth quadrant, and you're doing the things you want to do. Within crypto, there's that same thing exists. And number one is you look for a store of value, so something like Bitcoin can fit into there. Yeah. You have projects or buildings that generate cash flow, and those are things like blockchains, like Ethereum, et cetera, right? So there's a lot of different ways to categorize coins. Instead of saying cryptocurrency is cryptocurrency, well, no, cryptocurrency is a whole lot of different things like NFTs, et cetera. And back to what Hal said, on the NFT front, I think the collectible cards and the images are fantastic to introduce people to what NFTs are. But like you said as well, we're 1999 in this scenario, right?
Yeah. 5
years from now, I mean, home mortgages, auto titles will all be NFTs. Yeah. And you talk about in the fight we have is how many attorneys make money on title insurance or title searches. And if it's an open blockchain source, you don't need them.
No. You know? We just cut out the middleman, but the middleman doesn't like that.
Right. Right.
So we,
And
we get a lot of
the
unemployed people.
That's right. The final workshop I'll just touch on because I haven't introduced it yet, but I'm working on it kind of behind the scenes is along with DBM and our tax planning that we're doing with the accountancy that Sean's introduced, I'm going to actually do a workshop on what's called I Trust Capital, which is a platform where you can fund an IRA or a SEP IRA for self-employed people and invest in the cryptocurrency so that you can avoid any taxation on your trades and reallocation, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great way to create qualified money that's tax deferred inside of this plan. So it's an exciting field, and it's kind of a little niche area that I think I can really help people learn how to operate and expose themselves.
That's great.
Yeah, that's amazing, because that's one of the things that makes it, I think, a little bit more complicated in your country than in mine, that there are strict tax rules and that you have to deliver a lot of information. You have to deliver all your trade information, and they want to know everything, the IRS.
Right.
And you have to pay a lot of tax on your crypto. So if you can find ways using Nexo, or what you just told us, to pay less tax, or maybe even no tax at all.
Right, right. So yeah, even in the I Trust Capital, you can actually open a Roth IRA and you can trade, and it's tax-free, and it's even tax-free when you withdraw. So there are qualification limits to what you can put in every year. But as people generate through their coaching businesses and or their own investments income by owning that in a LLC or a separate entity, they can then pay themselves and fund this retirement account where they can do more and more tax-free and compounded. So it's exciting field.
What you said about Nexo, well, if you look at our country, then one of the things your parents teach you, you should never have a loan, because having a loan is bad. You should never be in debt. But now we're promoting Nexo because it helps us to do even more in crypto and put our assets even more to work. How do people respond when you talk about Nexo and the opportunity to use your assets as collateral and create a crypto loan and put that money to work?
So it goes back to the education side of the process, but by obtaining platinum status within Nexo, which is achieved by owning at least 10% of your assets in the Nexo token, you're at a 6.9% annual cost of borrow, okay? And I think historically, if you look back over the last 3 to 5 years, a properly diversified crypto portfolio with more of the blue chip coins is going to well exceed that cost of borrow, right? And even within the Nexo platform, you can invest a percentage of your assets in USDT or USDC and some different stable coins, and generate enough revenue to cover the cost of borrow. So essentially, an example I used this morning, you could, with say 5 ETH, or about $17,500, you can generate 40%. If you keep 40% in savings and 60% in your credit line, you can generate a loan of $5,000 to $7,000 with a daily cost of about 99 cents. And the other 40% invested in USDT or USDC will generate within Nexo platform about $1.25.
Oh, wow.
So you end up making 25 cents a day, actually having borrowed the money, right? And there's nothing says you have to borrow the money. I was now explaining earlier, the beauty of Nexo is getting it set up so that when something happens, like happened in the last 48 hours, and you have a chance to buy Cardano at $2.30 now, or Ripple or XRP at $1, or Bitcoin drops down to 42, you can pick up some of it.
Correct, because that's what you always hear. People say, oh, I wish I had more money because now it's shopping time. Now everything is a bargain, but I don't have any spare money, so I cannot buy new coins. And that's amazing to use Nexo that way. Are you also using Nexo, Hal?
I am just getting started. I was on Paige's call this morning.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he's brilliant with it, and the spreadsheet and walking us through that.
He is.
That he's in the zone when he's doing that, for sure. And I think that is such a valuable tool, and then parlaying that into yield nodes or something, or Paribus or something like that. So where you're not just taking a loan, but then you're also putting it into something else that will generate cash flow for you. And I think that's the powerful direction that we're going as coaches on both sides of the pond. Is was it 3 months to cash flow is the name of it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And getting that to where and here in the US, we're starting that. We're meeting with the coaches tomorrow so that we can start to put this together because of the regulations in the US. I kind of have a standard basis that I operate from when the chat groups light up with, oh my goodness, the returns are so fantastic and we're making all this money. Odds on it's not allowed in the US.
Okay, yes.
So,
yeah, but this could be really frustrating, but we're always talking about mindset. So mindset can be that you only focus on problems, but I think you guys are focusing on solutions. Are there plenty of solutions for people in your country? Even though it's so complicated, even though you have stricter regulations than we have?
There are. I think that noting and staking and savings account will earn you regularly.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely allowed here in the US. It may not be the fast return or the big return, but it's a nice steady move up the ladder as you're building your equity. So I think something like that is very very powerful. Paige, you probably know more about this than I do.
Well, no, I would just say, for example, Nexo at the high end will pay 12%, but the last 2% of that is actually in the form of a Nexo token. That's not available to us domestically. We top out at 10%, on our yield there. Now, on certain projects, depending on what you're doing in the United States, there are some workarounds, one being a VPN and just working through a virtual private network.
Yeah.
And there is some qualification there as to which projects you focus on that. But for the most part, there are ways. You just have to look at different exchanges. So whereas, in Europe, you might have a Binance exchange, we Binance.us is only available in certain states. So you might have to look at Kraken, you might have to look at Bit4X, you might have to look at different exchanges. In fact, I looked the other day, it's kind of frustrating. I've got about 8 different exchanges that I have cryptocurrencies on, and I'm trying to consolidate that, but there's only certain ones. We don't have one that encapsulates it all, but if you piecemeal it together, there's a way around it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It might be a little harder, but it's what I think and believe. If you focus on solutions instead of on problems, then your mind is open, and you're going to find ways to move around with the things that make it a little bit more complicated, but you will find ways to go through that or maybe move around it and find some other solutions. So tomorrow, what you said, Hal, tomorrow, are you going to start with preparations for the 3 months program?
Yes. The coaches are getting together and looking at what's available for us, what platforms we can utilize. And then I think we know who our Nexo expert is. I think we already have that. And we're looking for the other coaches who are on here. We're looking for what platforms we could all specialize in. And as I understand how y'all do it over there, that people have specialties. And then if somebody says, I want to go on this platform, and if Hans, if that is your specialty, then the other coach will say, well, Hans will help you with that, help guide you through that or coach you through that.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of how it works. And I think it's great that
it is,
we can stay in our lane with what we specialize with and hand people off to another coach for something that they specialize in.
I agree. And I think Sean even mentioned earlier today in a post that between he and Maura, they're coming up with a really nice roadmap or track record for how this thing is going to be structured, right, Hans? And then that's something we can focus on and share on, so that as we expand this globally, it's a very similar platform for everyone.
Yeah. Well, of course, we all work in the brand of DBM Academy. We have our own styles, our own specialties, but we want to have the same look and feel for everyone who does the program. so that they know, oh yes, this is the DBM Academy, this is how they do it. And that's why we want certain standards and a certain way of working. But in the end, and you will understand it, and you will experience this when you start doing this, when you are face to face with the person who wants to do the 3 months program, then there's always a difference in level of knowledge, in background. So that it is, in some way, it's a standard, the program, and in the other way, it's personal, very personal, because you talk about this guy or this girl's situation, his or her assets, goals, what do you intend to reach doing the program. So that makes it very special. It's not like you're just doing the same thing over and over again, because you have the standard, but it will be different every time when you meet a new person inside the program. And that's why I love to do it.
We can customize it for people. And you're right, everyone's mindset is unique to them.
Yeah.
And it's different when you go in of how do I accomplish this versus let me dip my toe in the water and see if it works. That's two different mindsets of whether you're going to drive until you accomplish it, or whether you're easily deterred or the roadblocks stop you quickly. And I think that as coaches, that's a big part of what we do, is helping people just build up that mindset so that they feel
Correct.
confident, and they can rely on us, like we rely on Sean and other people to coach us through things. They can rely on us to coach them through different aspects of what they're doing and what they're going through.
Correct. Yes. What I always tell people is, if you want to be in crypto, if you want to start in crypto, it's the same with, well, if you want to jump into the swimming pool, you don't do that without a swimming certificate. If you want to drive your car, you do need a driver's license. And it's the same with crypto. Starting in crypto without education can really bring you into big dangers. You can lose a lot of money. And well, it's not that we want all these students because we earn a lot from our coaching activities. We want to prevent people from making mistakes that will cost them a lot of money and that will hurt them a lot. Because we have all been there. We all have been in that situation. So we know how it hurts and how it feels. And we want to prevent everyone as far as possible that they don't have to go there, and that we help them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think is the main thing, Hal, if people are going to do this program? What's the main reason to do this? Why is this program so special, and why can't they just watch some videos and read some articles on the internet?
Great question. I think that cash flow is key. It's key for any business. And I think it's key for any individual as well. And I think having, instead of just watching a video or something, everyone's psychology is different, their mindset is different, and it's also their circumstances are different. And so, and that's why we created the USA coaches, not to separate us from the rest of the coaches. It's simply to deal with the specific issues that we find in the US.
Yeah.
And so that is a huge piece of that as we're going through things, there are some subtleties and some little things that if someone has experience and they're walking you through it, in a moment, they could say, change this, try this, switch this, versus you having to go watch many more videos and maybe getting the answer, maybe not, from maybe that's a reliable source, maybe it's not, just putting out the video. So there's a lot of bumps in the road that could occur. If you have a coach, then they could just guide you and give you confidence along the way. I've had people who have approached me with about things and will reach a point and they'll just go, that's enough, I can't do anything right now. It's like they've hit that wall where it's overwhelmed them. And part of our job is to not drive them, but lead them through the overwhelm.
Yeah, correct.
And get them to the other side. And once they accomplish it, it's not difficult. I remember the first wallet I ever opened
Oh, yes.
scared me to death.
Yes, yes.
All the warnings they
Yeah.
put up, and they went on and on with the warnings. And I thought, oh my goodness, what am I getting myself into? And I was opening a crypto wallet. And now, as coaches, as Paige said, we're on multiple exchanges. We've got multiple wallets in multiple locations, all these things. And previously, I sometimes looking back and seeing where I was at opening my first wallet as to helping other people go through that process, it would have been helpful to have someone coach me through it and guide me over the bumps.
Yeah.
I think, Hans, to answer that question, if I may,
Yes, of course.
it's just structure with personalization, right? We're providing structure and a way to do things with personalization. And I think the fact that they have some skin in the game by paying is huge. There's a reason that Weight Watchers and all these other companies work, is because people pay money. And once they pay money, they feel like they need to focus and pay attention.
Yeah.
And when there's some cost involved in this, and people pay and they fight their way through it, and then they actually invest $100 or $200 to start creating cash flow, that's when those light bulbs go off. So our goal and what this program provides is that electricity to power that light bulb.
Yes.
When that light bulb goes off, then all of a sudden they are fans of crypto, they're participants in our community, and they help spread the word of where this is all going. So I think it's a fabulous way to bring new people on board.
And I think it's even more in your country. The problem is that there are no solutions in the traditional financial world. You're looking at saving accounts with hardly any interest. I think you're looking at a way higher inflation rate than we are. So I think it's really difficult for people in your country what to do and how to keep themselves safe financially for the future, and maybe to save for their for the education of their children, or for early retirement, whatever, or health insurance costs. So yeah. So I think people really need solutions like this.
Agreed. There is a huge with the inflation, I don't know if it's globally, but here is starting to accelerate. What's noticeable at whether we're buying gas or petrol, as several people say, or whether we're buying groceries or whatever it is, the cost of things is just starting to go up, and we're on that incline that's going to increase rapidly at some point. And to have something that's outside that system, that's operating and working for us and creating income and creating cash flow, I think that's key.
Yeah. But well, you do have an amazing printer there in the United States, because you print dollars like crazy. I wish I had this printer at home.
Yeah, I wish I sold the ink to them, right?
Yes. I don't think they go to Hewlett Packard or stuff like that to buy their toner. But it's amazing the number of debt that is on your US debt website.
Yeah, and also what's fascinating is 99% of it now is digital anyway. It's all just created out of space. So
correct.
We're doing what we're just ahead of the curve, and we're going to get people ahead of the curve, and that's the goal. So
and then they say that crypto is the bubble. I'm not sure, but I think something else is the bubble.
Right.
And the central bank, which is, well, we won't go into what the central bank actually is, but they're actually creating their own cryptocurrency. And so they're creating these stimulus checks that come out periodically to citizens in the US. And I've heard that coming up, everybody's going to have a wallet, and they're just going to drop the crypto into your wallet and you go pay for it. But that's a government giving you that cryptocurrency. That's not being independent of the government. That's the government giving you the crypto.
Correct. And then you're still stuck in the old traditional system, and you're still not financially free and independent. Yeah. And I think for most people, it's not not even about having a lot of money or becoming a millionaire. It's about having the freedom to make choices in your life to do the things that you like. Because what we do and what we're taught is we go to school, we go to college, we have an education, we do a job, and then after 40 years we can start enjoying our lives when we retire. But I don't think that's the way we should live our lives. Do you agree?
Absolutely, 100%.
You should have fun every day, if
I saw a
possible.
great video the other day, and it was, if you can just imagine a circle, right? And the guy had taken the circle and carved out about 10 hours of it, a 24-hour day, right? And carved out 10 hours and just said, okay, this is my personal time. This is when I spend some time with the family, I sleep, I bathe, whatever, right? And then, so that still leaves 14 hours in the day. And if you have 8 hours that you have to work on a current job, right? That still leaves you 6 hours that you can allocate towards replacing those 8 hours, right?
Correct.
And most people with that 6 hours will maybe get an hour or two of work done. But if you really focus, and I think the cash flow program and the different projects will help people get focused, you know, you can realistically, because I've personally experienced it from, you know, basically in 08, 09 being bankrupt to building back up to where I am now. It's a matter of focus, and in a 3 to 5 year time frame, starting today, in a 3 to 5 year time frame, you can change your life and change a ton of other people's lives and not be dependent on everybody else. But it takes work and focus. But it's doable, and DBM allows us to learn all these different ways to do that. So,
but am I correct, Paige, if I say that with you it also started with mindset, that you set your mind on a new future, and I'm going to be in another place than where I am now. You have to tell yourself to go to work and do it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
Right. You have to create your own reason to get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, when the alarm goes off, you got to be excited about what you're doing and where you're going. And it is all mindset. Yeah. And Shanae's got some classes that are awesome.
Amazing, yes.
Mindset and
Mela also.
yeah.
Great.
But it's exciting, and again, it's unique to get a group like we have together, but to introduce people to people that have that mindset, and it's success leaves clues, as we always say within our group, right?
Yeah, correct.
But that mindset and focus is what's going to lead us to the promised land, so to speak. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. And hell, if people say, well, that's only for people who can start with a lot of money, that's not for me, I only have a few $100s to spend, what's your response?
You could start with as little as $100 in the investment side of it. The program costs for the coach's time and effort, but the actual investment can be small, and you could break it down into how many Starbucks coffees does that person buy in a month. Could they cut that back and take some of that money and put that into something like that? Or simple things, how many times do they go out to eat when they could not do that, save money, and put that money into building their golden future? So
and to put another point on that, you can get started and spend 90 days learning through DBM with nothing, right? You can just spend time and focus on learning where to get started and how to get started. And then it's as simple as making the decision and the mindset, have a garage sale, raise $100 or $200 in your front yard on a Saturday morning and buy Ethereum, right?
Correct.
And then learn. And so that's why I say it's not overnight, but a focused effort over a 3 to 5 year period of time right now. We put you light years ahead of everybody else.
What I love about the program is that we're using platforms that are compounding. So in the beginning, it looks like it's not going to make you a lot of money. It might be $25 or $50 per month. But then after 3 or 6 months, you see the number go up. And after another 6 months, you see it even go up more. So you set something in motion that once it is in motion, it will continue to grow.
And the positive feedback and the income expands the mental attitude, right? You get so excited about seeing a little thing happen that all of a sudden it snowballs into bigger things.
Yeah. Yeah, I was making this video a few weeks ago where I explained that I had this vegetable garden and you have these seeds, you can hardly see them, you put them in the ground and then there's just a little tiny green thing above the soil and you wish you could pull it and make it bigger, but you have to wait for it to grow. But it's the same with the 3 months program. Once you have planted a seed and it grows, well, it will grow. The power is inside the program.
Right.
Agreed.
And the
Benjamin
water and
Franklin-
fertilizers, the knowledge and time.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
And you have to find a way to get rid of the snails.
Right. Right.
So maybe that's the scammers and the hackers in there.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Very good.
Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, it's almost 50 minutes. So you see, when you have a conversation, time flies when you're having fun, they always say. Yes.
Right.
When will be your next course held this week? When is your first Zoom call this week, or is it next week?
It'll be next week. I do Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. So that's middle of the night for you, Hans. But the probably this week I will be doing NFTs and doing some ways to build, ways to grow opportunities. One of the things I like to do in my workshops is lay out information, especially on NFTs, because it's such a foreign concept for most people, and let them go, oh, I could do this. I know a friend that needs this. I could help them with this. And suddenly their mind starts going, and then they can come back for more coaching and education as needed. But opening their mind to the NFT space. So that's probably what I will be talking about on Monday.
Wow. Yeah. And Paige, are you doing some Nexo magic this week, or will it be next week?
I do every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 p.m. UTC or 4 p.m. CET, which was,
Yeah.
So anyway, 10 a.m. and then at 2 a.m. I'll be doing the crypto quadrants, 2 p.m. on Eastern on the same Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I hope to introduce by the end of the month the qualified reviews, so that the I trust. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It's something new that we can add to all the amazing stuff we already have as Academy, and that we can share with people who want to do more in crypto.
Right.
And you're not in the same time zone, I believe. There's a 1 hour difference.
Correct.
Right.
So he's Eastern. Paige is Eastern, and I'm Central.
Okay.
He's
Yes.
1 hour ahead of me. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I have to make this huge map and pin all these places where you are, and then in 1 or 2 years I'm going to take Gia and we're going to travel the whole world and visit all the coaches and all the people.
That's right.
Yay.
It's a little bit complicated at the moment, but I think the restrictions will disappear and we will travel all over the world, and it would be so nice to meet you guys in real life, because we have all these amazing conversations and coaching sessions. But I love you, and I love Robin and Moira, but I've never seen anyone in real life.
Right.
So it would be amazing.
I've envisioned the day when we all get together.
Yeah.
All the coaches meet somewhere and we're all together. That would be fantastic,
Yes.
because we've all become friends and colleagues and helped each other along the way with different aspects of things. And there is a real community that has been created here. And I look forward to that as well.
Yeah.
And I'm so much better looking in person. So
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, then I definitely have to go to your country. Yes. Okay, guys, any last words of wisdom from you before we close the call and stop the recording and end this conversation? Anything you want to share as your final words?
Benjamin Franklin said that compounding is the 8th wonder of the world.
Okay. Yeah, that's an amazing one. Yes.
So I don't have a quote to follow up Hal, but let me say there's no better time than now to get started, and you can get started for free by educating yourself.
Correct.
and then grow from there. So we're all here to help each other. Platforms like this and what you're doing, Hans, are tremendous for all of us. So I'm excited to be part of it and look forward to helping everyone down the road.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for being here, having this conversation. And well, I'm really impressed by what you're doing and how you're adding value and wanting to help people. So I'm really proud to be one of your colleagues and have a lot of success with everything you do. I hope you turn in the 3 months program in your country also to a big success, because this is what people need, and you're very experienced and you can help them. Enjoy the rest of the day, and well, we'll meet again in some other Zoom call or some other meeting.
Awesome.
Thanks so
Andre.
much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.